everybody, and welcome back to the Grid Talk podcast. No, not the P1 podcast. It is the lower budgeted and lower subscribed podcast, but much better content.
But more ethnically diverse.
30 seconds in, and we're already...
It's true. It's true.
It's true, yes, but we can't change who Tommy and Matt are. So, hello. That's actually Ishmael. Hello, Ishmael. Hope you're well. And welcome in. As always, we're going to say it straight away. If you haven't seen the Grand Prix results and you're watching the podcast, I'd probably turn off just about... Oh, too late. Anyway, there's the result at the bottom of the screen. Wajid, thank you for joining us as always.
No, thank you as always for having me as we continue our path to be the biggest dynamic duo in the Formula One podcasting world. It's a very slow journey, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody who tuned into the last one. Huge numbers for us, even though it probably doesn't look it, but it really went well, and we thank Paul Red Eye for joining us as well. But we are restricted to so many hours, and Paul has a lot to say. No, that's not why he's here. Not here tonight. We're returning to the two of us. Paul will be back at some other point, but this was hastily arranged, shall we say. Firstly, Mexican Grand Prix. Opinions on it, Wajid? Good Grand Prix, really. Generally, without the controversy, just a good Grand Prix.
I'd say it's solid it was solid for the most part. It was a traditional slow. It was a slow burner. It was really until the last 20 laps. I was like, this is getting interesting. We saw the front three, but controversy aside, Mexico. I mean, Mexico always puts on a solid Grand Prix from what I can remember. There's the one or two occasional boring ones, but overtaking long straights, overtaking quick has what you want for a Grand Prix, really. But what's your opinion? What was your opinions on it?
I liked it. I loved it, to be honest. It's not an all-time classic, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be remembered for all the wrong reasons, especially the victory that was taken by... I know we've got Carlos Sainz down there, but it wasn't. It was actually taken by Brad Pitt. We saw all the celebrations there with Mexican flag. Couldn't even be bothered to take his gloves off before he took his helmet off, apparently, but not took his gloves off. The only racing driver in the world who could ever do that. I'm telling you now, I've got a race helmet right here. If you put gloves on, you cannot do these straps up.
It's true.
It's impossible.
Actually true. It's actually true.
So slight hiccup there. Maybe didn't ask Lewis Hamilton's advice on that one. But no, I thought it was a really good Grand Prix. We're going to hopefully go into all the details, especially the impeccable, great start by Sergio Perez, which was so good. That's just a kid in the background. Don't worry, we're not tying him up or something. He's meant to be going to bed. It's Sergio Perez. Epic start, just like Ruud van Nistelrooy's start at Manchester United this weekend. Are they playing tonight?
Tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night. So we get to see United lose yet again. Interesting. Anyway.
Where's your European football this year?
No, we're still ahead of you in the table.
Where's your European football?
Wrong
podcast.
Wrong podcast, but I will say, Jose Mourinho did say he was going to take over a club that was not having Europe next season. Manchester United and Newcastle are right in the way for this.
That's true, fellas. That's true.
Anyway, back to Formula One before we bore or everybody who's watching, or anybody who's watching, shall we say. A great Grand Prix, and we've got to say, Ferrari are absolutely on fire at the moment. We'll start with this because it's probably the weird, we've said there's things where we're flipping back and forward in terms of what's going on, what drivers are doing what, But the inconsistency of Ferrari this season has almost been a story in itself. We looked at, was it Austria?
Yeah, Austria, where they were absolutely from Austria, Silverstone, like that European portion up until the summer break, they were nowhere.
Let me just have a quick look at the overall. I wouldn't say they're nowhere because obviously they won in. Sites took third, withdrew from Saudi, where we had the good drive by Behrman.
No, I said from the Europe,
from European,
that middle European portion, because Spain, like from the Monaco victory, Canada, there was that horror race where they were nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Spain 5th and 6th, but again nowhere. In Austria, they were again nowhere.
Not quick, yeah.
Britain in the first portion of the Grand Prix, science was there. Then once the track cooled, the rain and stuff, nowhere. Hungary.
Yeah, we will say in Britain though, Leclerc did put the inters on, which was the wrong decision.
Yeah. Hungary, I mean, that was just McLaren, really, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Belgium, they did finish third with Leclerc for the disqualification.
And took pole.
But yeah. And then third, and then they after the summer break, they sort of found their form again. So, third and fifth in Holland. Obviously, Leclerc won in Italy. He could have won in Azerbaijan. He was second. Okay, yeah. Singapore again. I think didn't they qualify really poorly in Singapore? Yeah, and then obviously
this is a problem now because there's so many Grand Prix. It's really 9th and 10th in Singapore.
Yeah, and then
both with no time actually.
Oh yeah, because both the laps got deleted, didn't they? Yeah, yes. Yeah. And then now they've gone back to back.
When you go Singapore, they were 62 seconds behind Norris, but also still 22 seconds behind Piastri, who was third.
Just weird where the paces come from. The stupid thing being, as I bring this up, if they were slightly more consistent in that European race, Charles Leclerc is second in this world title track.
Yeah, I mean, this is one thing which I've sort of pointed out a number of times to people who have sort of jumped on me like a cannonball and said, whatever, and said, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? Especially the claim that Lewis would have been in a Ferrari by the end of the season. It looked like it at the time. Hold my hands up. Isn't going to happen. But there may be still driver changes before the end of the year. But in terms of Ferrari, they've been very fair with sites. You're leaving. We're not going to stop you fighting. We said it last time. We got a very weird championship. We got Verstappen with no help from Perez. We got Norris, who's not really had any help from Piastri. You got Leclerc, who's definitely not getting. Well, I think if we got to the final race and they said, Carlos, can you move aside so Leclerc wins the championship? I think he probably would.
I think if Max had binned it in Mexico, they would have told Sainz back up.
I don't know because they've allowed him to have his last victory, kind of thing. This is almost like Piastri in Hungary. You've had your first win now. If we need to move you aside, we can. Now with sight, you've had your last victory with Ferrari. If we need to move you aside, we can. But then if you disappear into the distance like you did this weekend, I mean, let's put it this way. Carlos I got it wrong, is out the championship running. Only just, but he is out because I thought there's a sprint race at all 4 events. That's why I thought there was 136 points available. It's only 120.
There's two sprints left in there.
Yeah, I got that wrong. I hate sprints, yet I wanted 4 of them. So Piastri, he's 111 behind, and Seitz is a bit too far behind. It's another 11 points back, so he can't do it now. So now he's mathematically out. I think you may see a bit more help from Carlos Seitz, maybe. But then if he's in a position to take, no, it's not going to happen, but 5 on the trot going off to Williams, he's going to probably try and take him. So it's a really weird championship dynamic that we have nobody to help anybody.
I think I think he's got his victory. If there is a race where Verstappen bins it, which for Leclerc's sake he kind of now has to, for this hypothetical world championship, and they're 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 or whatever, Ferrari gonna get out of the way.
Yeah, I think Ferrari have big enough pockets, even though they're bringing in Lewis Hamilton, who I doubt they're paying a huge lot to. I think it'll be a lot more sponsorship and stuff like that, or an initial payment. In terms of sites, I think they've got enough in their pocket to say, Carlos, move aside. Here's a couple of million because it's going to decide for World Championships kind of thing. So I think it's... Go on.
I'm sorry, what we've not spoken about is they're well in this battle for the Constructors' title.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Constructors' Championship now, 5.66 McLaren, 5.37 Ferrari, 5.12 Red Bull. Now,
it's Ferrari versus McLaren for the Constructors.
Yeah,
who would have thought that after Miami?
Well, yeah, but I also get really frustrated watching the celebrations at the weekend. Now, I know Carlos and Lando are tight-knit and having dinner afterwards, yeah, that's fine, not a problem. But then Zach jumping in this photo of Ferrari celebrations. Where's this Ferrari-McLaren bromance come from? These teams went head-to-head with each other from 1998 onwards.
It's because neither of them have been in a world title fight for the best part of... Well, McLaren since 2004, I want to say? 2003?
Depends. Are you talking drivers?
Shit. Sorry, drivers. Sorry, it had been owned. What?
They were in it in 2010. No, not 2010.
No, it was
2012.
No, there was.
Lewis was an outside bet.
Was that 2012 or 2010? No, it was 2010 when it was Seb's first because he went into Abu Dhabi 24 points behind in it.
That's right. So Lewis was in there for that. Constructors wise, I think they may have been in with a chance in Button Lewis era. Just having a quick look now.
Yeah, that's still 2010.
Scroll down there.
It's still 2010, 2011.
Wikipedia page because it goes too far. Now that's IndyCar. I don't want to know about that IndyCar.
But I mean, my point being, you've had a team who've essentially not been in a world title fight for over a decade.
A while, yeah.
Yeah, Ferrari, yeah, cool. They were sort of there with the Mercedes, with Seb from time to time. Illegal engine aside, whatever else, that's fine. But those two have not gone. My point was supposed to be those two have not gone head to head for nearly 3 decades. It's been nearly 3 decades.
Yeah,
a lot of fans don't remember the Hakkinen versus Schumacher.
Yeah, but that
Kimi versus Schumacher.
Even with any of them, while you could sort of say it's quite similar to Verstappen Norris, up until now anyway, they were respectful to the end. And I know everybody goes, oh well, what about Schumacher in '94? Well, let's take '94 for example with Schumacher.
That wasn't on '97.
Yeah, but neither of them were. I mean, if you go back and watch '97, we'll start with '94. He thinks he's damaged his car. Probably doesn't expect Damon to dive there. Damon does, and he turns in and rush of blood to the head. You get it. What racing driver hasn't? Then '97. I still don't think it's fully on Schumacher with that one. I still think Villeneuve goes skating straight on if the Ferrari isn't there. But this, they had respect. Even Schumacher and Villeneuve, yes, they played dirty games, but at the end of the day, Michael Schumacher turned up, and I know Williams and Jacques Villeneuve have this different idea of why Schumacher turned up at the 97 championship party at the end of the season to celebrate. But at the end of the day, Schumacher had respect for everybody out there after the race. He just didn't when he was on track. And I don't feel like that's the same with, somebody like Max or whatever. But Ferrari, as we'll stick with Ferrari first, absolutely flying, definitely in this Constructors' Championship fight. Piastri needs to wake up a little bit and obviously start qualifying. Maybe get through to Q2 would be a good start. And then, we're well and truly in a fight. But this Ferrari, there's not been one update that's gone on the car and you've gone, that's done it. It's been sort of progressive little things that suddenly put some pace in what was a pretty good balanced car apart from a couple of rounds.
Yeah, and it makes 2025 incredibly interesting now, doesn't it? Because I genuinely think the general consensus is if that man was in either the Ferrari or the McLaren, there would be a world title fight. Unfortunately, he needs to sort out his qualifying next year. But we'll get to that later.
We don't know if his qualifying this season is him or not, because we know how sensitive Pirelli tyres are. We know how sensitive the whole situation is in the team. Hi, Jimmy. Welcome in from Twitch. We are live on YouTube as well, by the way. It is one of them where you just go, there's something not quite, because Lewis has always been one of the ones who can pull out a lap. So there is something. And I honestly think this change to Ferrari, especially with Ferrari being on this kind of fault, is going to just forget 2021.
Sorry, by the way, if he's gone to Ferrari with Ferrari in the up, this man and his sixth sense about finding a car that can take him is unmatched. He literally is the anti-Fernando Alonso, isn't he? He finds if that car is the car with the go into 2025.
Yeah,
he's literally found, like, I don't know, it just worked out perfectly.
Because he could, and I'm sure Ferrari would probably let him if he wanted to do 2025, drop his bags, win World Championship, walk out. He could do that, but he won't. We know he won't because we know what Lewis Hamilton's like. But that, like you say, that is the difference between, for me, the great and the excellence kind of thing. Lewis, he knows where to be, right place, right time. Fernando Alonso has not known where to be, right place, right time.
Ever.
Minardi was right place, right time because he got a half-decent car to perform. Being in Renault, when the Jenson Button bust up coming, you get his seat, great. Jenson Button and contracts don't really go together, especially in his younger age.
Funny that.
Then you had McLaren, wrong place, wrong time, because he had Lewis come along. Then he went back to Renault. Renault won the downcut turn. Then he went, where did he go after that? Ferrari. It wasn't bad at Ferrari, just he wasn't able to overcome what was an excellent Red Bull at the time. And then we had the trip back to McLaren. Then he had his Indy break. Then he went back to... Did he come back to McLaren? In between? Yeah, he came... He came back to McLaren, yeah. This is the thing, I can't remember where he's gone. And it's just... let's put it this way. With somebody like Fernando, which we'll get onto in a bit, because he's obviously 400th Grand Prix this weekend. Nice little stat that he retires from his 200th, 300th, and 400th Grand Prix. But it's just it's a strange one. Where he's not been able to put himself when he's got the power to decide where he goes as such. You know, he has the decision-making power like Lewis does, but he's never pitched right.
It's not like he's not had the opportunity. It's not like he's not had the capabilities, and so he is the one that burns his own bridges at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think he's also quite kind of scared of going up against certain drivers as well, especially in his older age.
Yeah, I think so too. But anyway,
yeah. So Carlos Sainz absolutely flying. Charles Leclerc almost binned it in the wall. I mean, Christ! I mean, my jaw hit the ground when I saw that one because I mean, it was a save and a half. Brilliant meme that somebody's put out, which is posted attack mode where he went off the track because Formula E would normally have that out there, but well saved, kept third place, pitted, got fastest lap. Really important for Ferrari.
Red Bull pitting Checo going, yeah, in your injured car.
What's even worse with that is Red Bull didn't just pit Perez. I know Lawson needed a pit stop for his front wing anyway, so it kind of coincided it. But to have two cars attempting to take the fastest lap, and the Ferrari still does it, little embarrassing. But obviously, we will now move on because Sainz brilliant, unstoppable all weekend. I wish we saw more of it from Carlos. I mean, he does get most of the time the best out of the car, but there's just them weekends like this weekend where he gets even more, and you think, why couldn't we see that just a bit more from you, Carlos? Maybe we will at Williams when he partners Franco Colapinto next season because Alex Albon's crashed too much. Moving on, before I get to two shot down by Williams and Alex Albon, we will move on to yet again first to the apex. Yes, it's a part of a show. We're going to make a little a graphic for this because I mean it's quite obvious it's going to happen quite often. We said it a million times before that the old Max Verstappen will not go away. And I understand people turning around and saying, because we're going to try and answer all your questions in this. So from the people who say, why was it 10 seconds? It should have been 0, it should have been 5. To the people who go, hang on, was it strong enough? We're going to answer why it was 10 seconds and stuff like that. So bear with us. If you've got any questions about it, pop them in the chat.
Sorry, no. People might be wondering why I have this smug smile on my face. It's because both of us for 2 years have been saying, Max isn't going to change. Max isn't going to change. And hey, presto, here we are. Here we are in a title fight against his rival. Here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, we see little bits of it, you know, when the car doesn't perform correctly. You know, I think it was Singapore last year when it was just sort of this fourth quickest car on the grid, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
Just sort of disappear it. But everybody turns around and says, well, what about this? What about that? What about his pace after his penalty? Like, absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere.
I kind of think I know where it went. He's low on engine. So big rumour is that he'll take one in Brazil this weekend. That seems to be leaked by Helmut Marko, but surprise, leakier than a garden tap. But they've got to try and keep that engine. I wonder with the lack of air, Mexico, you know, the heat and the lack of because of the altitude. I wonder if they turned it down a huge amount to try and protect that engine because they knew they weren't going to catch Mercedes, to be fair. And they've got such a big lead in the championship, but staying where they were.
You say that. He was only like 8 seconds behind Lewis at one point before like all his pace disappeared.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I understand that. But I just think maybe they went, right, this is a race where we're going to, you know, we think Lando's going to be third. Because at that stage, it did look like he was going to be third. Max is sixth, 15 to 8. It's still not enough for Lando. If we make sure the car keeps coming home, we're going to win the championship anyway. We'll hobble across the line like Jenson Button did in 2009. And maybe we'll just get one of them races where we, especially with sprints, they can take advantage of them because the car seems to, Max loves sprints. We know from that. But, he finished only 11 seconds behind George. So they probably didn't tone it down that much, but they weren't going to gain enough to dominate past the Mercedes. So let's take that opportunity to protect the engine, possibly. But let's get to why Max Verstappen was where he was. I think it was lap 9, I want to say, somewhere around that.
Somewhere around that.
Max Verstappen and Lando, I think Carlos Sainz had got past Max, took the lead of the race early on, and Lando was trying to take his opportunity, and he got it down into turn number 4. Now, we have seen many a times drivers forcing people wide in this corner. It's like a given, but it's going to happen. Not month in, month out, year in, year out. It's happened quite a lot. But this was a different situation, Wajid, to Australia, because America, Dakota, because, well, if you apply the rules, but as Christian Horner did in the first place, Lando was ahead of the apex.
Yeah, absolutely. And my thing is we've gone from Austin to Mexico with the same driving standards, and people at least at turn 1 and turn 2 there's grass where there's some level of punishment. None that stupid tarmac runoff. There's actually some level of punishment. But he's beating him to the apex. Max has done exactly what he did at COTA. He knows he's not going to beat him to the apex. He's let go of the brake. He's managed to keep the car in this time. He's pushed him. He's pushed him off. Can you say it's marginal? Can you say it's like COTA? Yeah, the difference this time is Lando's ahead at the apex. Unlike COTA, if you want to be pedantic about it, it was a penalty. He drove him off the road. It was a penalty.
Yeah, he drove him off the road. I know a lot of people said maybe Lando should have given the place back straight away. I kind of do understand that to a point. Because Max would have got the push-off penalty anyway. But whether Lando had given the place back or not, and he could have had another hack at it, it was to play devil's advocate, risking the stewards making the same decision. But they had made it clear in the driver's briefing that it is 100%. So I'm just pushing the door too because the kids meant to be in bed. It is slam dunk that they're going to come down hard on it. When this bad press, bad publicity comes up about it, you're going to come down hard on it. So it's definitely something that they decided they're going to sort of push hard and do something about. And they did. They gave him a 10-second penalty. Slam dunk. Max pushed him off the circuit. You can go watch it on YouTube. It's pretty clear. I know Christian went, the difference here being is Max didn't go off the circuit. Well, if Max had gone off the circuit, going off the rules from COTA, Lando would have got the penalty. But Max didn't go off the circuit, so he pushed him off the circuit. Yeah, okay, we'll work that out somewhere along the
line. Basically, Max should have gone off the circuit with it.
Yeah. And he did. That was turn 4, turn 5, 6, turn 7 is the fast left-hander into the S's. Now, I actually didn't care whether he got a penalty for push off, because Lando come back on ahead. Kind of like it's yes, he should get one, but Lando's got his position. It's done. It's done and dusted. It should be a penalty. But the second one infuriated me. Not because of being a Lando fan. So if you need to take something, go on.
No, that's fine.
I was going to say I can rant. It infuriated me as a racer, as a kart racer, because you're not just going and pushing somebody off track in a slow corner or anything like that. What you're actually doing then is playing devil's advocate with somebody's life. That's that. There's no way, zero chance at the speed he took up the inside of Lando that he was going to stay on the circuit. And it's only Lando's reactions that stopped him breaking Lando's wing, putting him in the wall, breaking his front suspension. You name it, it could have been done. So it really was. I mean, I think we can still bring up a quick image of it in a minute when I've actually uploaded it to a page.
No, it's fine.
Give me a second.
But
so,
no,
there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
It's just madness that in all of this, you're looking at the two championship rivals off the circuit. You can see the tyre marks in the background that Max has left to try and stay on the circuit at a speed that was just impossible to stay on at. And Lando's probably in shock in that image at the moment, at that stage.
Probably, but it's just Brazil all over again, isn't it? Except this time you actually get punished for. Except this time you actually get punished for your driving slam. Nah, it was outrageous. It was crazy. And like you said before, like people going, oh well, Senna won at all costs. Schumacher won at all costs. I think he's closest to Senna in terms of his recklessness. Because Senna did,
Yeah, but this is.
Yeah, but Senna did smash into Prost twice at Suzuka.
Once. I would never say 80. 89 was always Prost's fault.
Fair.
But that's a podcast itself.
That's a whole different conversation.
That's a winter podcast. But what I'm saying is, like, what I would say is, like, people go, oh well, Senna said this, Brundle said this about Senna. He's willing. Yes, Brundle is on about Senna when we're in F3 days, in your finishing classes. Formula One is not a finishing class. You should be the finished article by the time you get in an F1 car.
I'm going to defend Max in this regard, which is, I know. When you've never been punished for doing the same thing consistently over and over again for 10 years now? When did he come in? 2016, I believe?
Yeah, but he did. He's done stuff at Saudi. He did pick up a penalty. But what I am going to say is, are the penalties too lenient these days?
Which penalty at Saudi?
He got a penalty for a brake check, didn't he?
Yeah, but that one he should have been disqualified. That's a whole different thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He shouldn't have got the penalty. He should have just been flat out disqualified. The problem with Saudi is it was a clear brake check. It was against the driving standards. The problem wasn't he got the penalty retrospectively, which he shouldn't have got, which even the penalty should have been enforced in the race, because having a 20-second stop and go in a race is totally different to having 20 seconds slapped on afterwards, right? Yeah, he should have been disqualified, but that's a whole different. That's a whole different thing altogether. That's a whole different thing altogether. Sorry, I've forgotten the question. Because I was ranting about Saudi.
No, it's basically the idea that, I think back, and I'm gonna think back quite a bit. So please stick with us, boomers. I know you're gonna, maybe not word into use, but please stick with us. 94, Michael Schumacher, Silverstone, jumped the formation lap ahead of Damon. Did drop behind in the end. Got a black flag. Drive 10-second stop go penalty. Didn't take it. Got disqualified. Whatever. Got pulled into pit side because he didn't take it. Then you go back to 97 in the championship. Like, that's still, he got disqualified from the whole championship for one move at the end of the season, which didn't change the championship. Jack had still won it, even if Michael was sitting there in the gravel.
Yeah, I remember.
You know,
they even went to the court of arbitration at the end of the year.
It's a shame I'm having to pick up Schumacher on all of these things, but it's the obvious ones which come into my head, like 98 Silverstone, when he got his 10-second penalty and won in the pits. You know, these are penalties that you have to come into the pits, you have to serve within 3 laps, you have to, and then now we've got, we're going to give you a little 5-second penalty that you can take in a pit. A stuck wheel nut takes 5 seconds.
I don't know why they've got rid of the stop-go penalty.
I mean, we did go through a period of drive-through penalties as well, which is good enough as well.
Because if you have a stop-go.
Yeah.
If you know you have a stop-go for reckless driving, you're thinking twice about your driving standard.
Exactly. I agree with that.
And
which is why... Go on.
But I don't know where we went this period where we were handing out stop-goes left, right, centre. I know it wasn't left, right, centre, but we were handing out stop-goes to, we're just not, the stop-goes just don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I honestly think, personally, and this is just my personal opinion, and people may think it sounds harsh. Like you say, a stop-go will make you think twice about doing something. I don't think in this day and age of Formula One, where basically we've got such a gap to the midfield. I mean, Kevin Magnussen did a great job to get where he did, but he still wasn't going to beat Max, even with a 20-second penalty. Maybe we've got to start bringing back these. Let's have a drive-through instead of a 5-second penalty. That's going to cost you 10, 15 seconds of a drive-through, down general pit lanes, maybe 20 seconds. That's your 5-second penalty, your base penalty that seems to be applied these days. A stop-go penalty, which is literally pull into your box, stop for a second, and leave.
Just before you, none of this new shit where you do your 10 seconds in the pits.
Yeah.
And then they stick, and
then you change your tires.
Then you change your tires. No. The old stop and go where you came in, you served his penalty, and you kept on trucking because you weren't allowed to have your pit stop.
Exactly. And then have your worst offenders with a 10-second penalty. Under safety car, what Vettel did. Yes, completely wrong what Vettel did. But what was more dangerous? What Vettel did in Azerbaijan with Lewis Hamilton, or what Max Verstappen gets 5-second, 10-second penalty for? And it's that inconsistency. And I know people will say about inconsistency, stewards, we've got a McLaren, former owner, former person in the thing. Yes, but we also, everybody you pick who might be a driver steward. So Johnny Herbert, Derek Warwick, we went through this last week with Paul, didn't we? We said they're too old or whatever. But you're still going to pick up somebody who has a link to somebody who's involved in an incident. So you could say, let's have Mark Webber, let's have David Coulthard. They are Red Bull ambassadors. Wrong decision. But you've got to find people who have no links to these teams whatsoever. And that is impossible. Because everyone's got some kind of, especially with the engine deals that go out these days, everybody's got a link to somebody.
Yeah, it is. But I think there needs to be a systemic review of the penalty system again.
Yeah. I know why they brought it in. They brought it in because they wanted racing to continue, but they wanted to penalise people. But they didn't want to completely take you out of the race.
Yeah, but you're not getting penalised.
No, that was just their explanation.
No, I know. I understand this, but it's now getting to a point where Max's driving could potentially injure someone.
Yes, I completely agree with that. But that was Max, 20-second penalty. But then we also saw Sergio Perez and Liam Lawson. I think they called that one right because look, Perez took an absolute, I don't care what Sergio says, took an absolute dive at Liam, and Liam went, no, I'm not having it, and gave it back to him. So they both gave as good as they got, and Sergio ended up coming out with damage from it. That's his own problem.
You can tell Checo don't like Liam Lawson though.
Yeah, it's a lot to do with the dislike between the two because Perez knows that Lawson's coming for his seat. You know, if somebody, I always say to my kids, you could jump in my grave quicker when I get out of my seat and they jump in it. Lawson's already sitting on Sergio's lap. You know, that's the way it is. And in that instant, both of them gave as good as they got. Neither were really off the circuit. And it kind of just sorted itself out. So the one thing I don't get with it is rejoining the circuit in a safe manner. Now, Liam stayed on the racing line after that chicane, and Sergio tried to basically drive into the side of him to get back on the circuit, which is ironic because then he got to the next corner with dirty tyres and almost spun it. We will get onto Sergio Perez and what we think of whether his career is actually going to continue in 2024 in a minute. But yeah, what do you think about that one? Do you think it was fair call?
It was fair call, and let's be honest, they never care about people in 15th, 16th.
And they'd already given Sergio a 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
For something which was as clear as day. So,
yeah.
as much as Sergio says it was an amazing start, yes, it is when you're half a car out your grid slot. And I love how he tried to protest it. It's like the yellow line's level with you, mate. Yeah, not the car, not wheel.
This was just the stupidest thing in the world.
But then the final one was, again, amazingly, Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll. Now, Lance was pushed off the circuit and had to go across the grass. So what was the difference there between his and Max Verstappen's? Was it basically just the stewards wanting to get out of Mexico on a plane alive?
No, because they were. But if you watch it, they were both stupid. It was just stupid driving from both of them around the lap before, wasn't it? Like Lance attempted to dive bomb and then Sergio moved out of the way. So it was a continuation. So
yeah.
It was 6 of one, half a dozen the other, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So like they didn't punish the last lap, so they weren't going to punish that lap.
Yeah. Okay, I can understand that. I will also say that there is still talk about sites complaining why Liam Lawson hasn't got a penalty for holding him up in something which wasn't on TV with a blue flag situation, which Colapinto was quite vocal about. But to be honest, who cares? Okay. Anyway, moving on to the more important stuff. We have got this here. We'll say dangerous, Max. Out of the situation, we've sort of gone through Max already, but how much further do you think? How much further do you think Max will go to try and win this World Championship? Is it going to be to a stage where, because his blasé attitude about it, you know, they said, "Oh, you got a 10-second penalty, Max." Oh, there's a lot of whining on the radio. Ironic from Red Bull.
That was that was Lambiase to.
Yeah. But it's very ironic. Max. And then you've got Max sort of saying, you know, these things are... I don't know what it is. It just seems so calm and kind of like, yeah, I knew I was going to get a penalty, so what kind of thing.
It's because they're of the same stance I've been since Miami. They've already won the world driver's title.
But we saw in 2021, it didn't really change the way Max drove for his first World Championship. He got the penalties, you know, he got the brake check one, but he still dive bombed in Abu Dhabi a couple of times and stuff like that. Do we think this will now calm Max down to bring home the championship, or do you think it's like, okay, well, I'll get 20 seconds over?
No, I'll get 20 seconds anyway, because Lando still has to outscore him by, I think, 13, 14 points.
Yeah.
A race between now. And for argument's sake, let me just check Charles Leclerc, because there's 71 points, isn't there? 1 divided 4. Charles has to outscore him by 18 points. Like Charles
Yeah.
needs to finish second every single race, and Max not finish. So the sort of opportunity to close the world to close the points grid is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So Max has just got to cruise home, 5th, 6th, rest of the season. It's all good because Lando's not shown the consistency that he's gonna win. He's gonna win back to back races.
Yeah.
He's not shown any of that. He's only for goodness sake, he's only won 3. He'd have to double his win tally to even do that.
Mm.
So I just don't think Red Bull are driving with that fear. Charles, I'll add Charles in because mathematically he's still in this title fight. But Charles and Lando have to make sure they qualify ahead of Max each single race. Otherwise, Max is just going to drive him off the road.
I mean, we could put the data up on screen or print it off like Christian Horner, but we're not that pushy with it. I will say one thing, though.
Nor do we care as much.
Is he is now in a position that if this race result is repeated for every race and every sprint, so you saying like Max has the attitude of it's 20 seconds, 20 seconds.
So 120 points. Sorry.
If that stays the same.
Apologies, I totally forgot about the sprints. It is 120, not 100. Sorry.
So in terms of if Lando finishes second every race and Max is 6th, the championship goes to Lando Norris by 1 point. So that idea that 20 seconds is quite blasé by Max, it could come back to bite him, especially if he's got to fight through this weekend in Brazil.
Yes, but the minimum he's finishing every single week is 6th.
Yeah, we'll see. I think with the attitude that Max has, especially with it back to back races, and we've only got one more to go till we have a week's break, but I think this is quite a crucial one with Brazil coming up. I will say one thing though. Perez failure. It's his home Grand Prix. Sergio always tries far too hard here to try and get a result. I understand it, but it's almost because he thinks each time will be his last chance. And I think it might mean it this time. Absolute terrible race. Q1. Then parks out. So qualifies in Q1. Equal with Piastri, so we can say, yeah, okay. We'll allow you off this time, Sergio. Then parks half a mile outside his grid box. Claims that it's a great start. Well, I'd get a great start.
I'd get a great start too.
From there. Then you've got what's the next one? Then you've got his instance
the damage
with Lawson.
The damage into because he damaged his car into turn 1 as well, didn't he?
Did he? I don't know. I thought that was just Lawson.
No. He damaged his car into turn 1.
With 60 to 75 points of downforce. I hate this from Red Bull. He's lost 60 clicks of downforce. 60 clicks out of how many? You could have 6,000 clicks of downforce and he's lost 10%. Okay, that makes sense. Just coming out with he's lost 60 clicks of downforce means sod all to all of us. And I've done engineering and I still don't know what he means. So, he's just throwing something out that sounds bad so that you can cover the story up. But I think even in the interviews afterwards with Max, where they went, Max, how do you feel about Sergio? He's not really been there to back you up, etc., etc. And then Max is kind of like, he doesn't try and defend him at all. He's kind of like, I actually need you now, Sergio. So can you get a move on? We had the middle finger from Lawson as well. That was a bit cheeky from it's funny, but Liam, it's your second Grand Prix and you're trying to get that seat. I wouldn't start things like that now.
No, he's not. Helmut Marko's not going to say anything to him, so it's okay.
Well, you say that. Liam Lawson was called into Christian Horner's office straight after a race.
Christian Horner, not Helmut Marko.
Well, Red Bull, Helmut was part of it as well. But what I'm going to say is, the rumour is, obviously, that Max will take a penalty this weekend. Rumour has it that Sergio might, if he does not turn up in Brazil, might not do the last 3 races.
So
Let's take it as gospel.
So what, they're going to give Lawson... So, okay, John, since you brought up...
Let's take this result off. Yeah. So, we have a Red Bull driver pool. That's what they call it. Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar, Yuki Tsunoda,
Daniel Ricciardo,
Iwasa's in there, I think, as well, which he seems to be completely out of the picture. And now they also have people coming through who aren't able. So I think Ollie Gerfer and Pepe Martin don't have the license points to be able to do it. I think the closest would be Pepe Martin. Actually, probably Lindblad. From his results in F3, he's probably got the most points, to be fair. But so if you're Red Bull, where do you go with this? You know, you've got to get that second car involved, because either that or it's a brilliant trolling where you go and win the Drivers' Championship and you finish 3rd, so you get more wind tunnel time. It is a piece of trolling and a half, that. But if you need a second car in that battle right now, and Sergio Perez ain't doing it, who are you sticking in that car? Because Tsunoda got desperate into turn 1, and I don't think he makes that move to the outside of Albon if Lawson's not in that other car, and there's not talk about him being in a Red Bull for a test at the end of the season or something. You've got Lawson, who's putting pressure on and doing impressive displays, but upsetting everybody in the paddock.
But this week was bad. You can. I'm sorry, you can stick your middle finger up at Checo and all you like, but you finished 16th. It's a bad weekend.
Oh, it was a bad. Oh, for Sergio or for Lawson?
Not for both of them. It's a bad.
Oh yeah. We do have to take into account that Lawson was on his way to points before the Colapinto front wing situation. So that does come into effect. That Lawson was having a good race, and then that sort of tits it up. But if you want to really stamp your authority as Red Bull, Wajid has took over at Red Bull. Helmut Marko's had enough of Horner. Wajid could qualify an F3000 car for a Grand Prix, unlike Horner. Where are you going with it? You've got 4 Grand Prix to go. Obviously, Perez is going to Brazil because that's all sorted and you wouldn't be able to get passes and things change that quickly. Where are you going with it?
Where am I going with it? I'd probably give Tsunoda the promotion.
For 3 races?
Yeah.
And what happens if, let's say Tsunoda's not all that and he doesn't compete, and where you go next season? Let's say them 3 races prove Yuki Tsunoda's not good enough to be in the top team, which is the whole reason of having RB. Where do you go next season if that's the case?
Then I'm on the phone to see if certain drivers' contracts can break for next year.
Which certain drivers?
Carlos Sainz.
Well, and you've seen like an Albon. Sorry if anybody heard a banging. We've got fireworks going off.
So. For people who outside the UK, it's currently like Halloween/firework season for the next couple.
For some reason, it's not one night anymore. It's a week.
It's a week.
But yeah, so generally, you think that you would go scampering after Carlos Sainz. And what's to say Carlos? I'm playing devil's advocate here, but what's to say Carlos Sainz wouldn't say, "Well, you didn't want me."
Because it's a Red Bull seat.
A Red Bull seat, which could be the fourth quickest car in Formula One next season.
Okay, would you rather take the fourth quickest car on the grid that could potentially win in a given weekend, or do you want to be in a Williams?
Possible. I will say, actually, the last time that I think it's the last time Ferrari won in Mexico, the year later, championship was won by Williams.
Ask Danny and Ricciardo whether he'd stay at Red Bull or take the Renault seat.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to throw this out there. Daniel Ricciardo was never announced as retired. Honestly, if you're still trying to assess who you're putting in that car next season and you're not putting Sergio Perez, so you're still assessing Lawson and Yuki, do you give one last hurrah, 3 Grand Prix, no, at the end of the season, you are gone if these other two don't perform? Because if you throw Lawson in there or you throw Yuki in there, like I just said, you could be ruling them out of RB next season, never mind anything else.
Right. Yuki Tsunoda has been there, 4 years now? This is his 3rd year, 4th year?
Yeah.
If you are not good enough, you are literally there because you're Japanese and Honda say there needs to be a Japanese driver in one of these cars.
Right? You said it.
Well, I don't
care. That's the reason he's there.
Okay. Yeah. But who's the engine provider for Red Bull in 2026?
Well, technically Rupert, but Ford.
But it's not Honda anymore. The only engine Honda are providing after the Aston, that he's not ending up in an Aston Martin seat. So you give him his try now. If he's crap, see you later. Because why would you care what your ties are with Honda for 2025? Because they're gone now at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think the problem you have with doing that personally is you're only giving him 3 Grand Prix in a top team where he hasn't been before.
Listen, if you're good enough, you're good enough.
No, I agree. With that.
I've seen Lewis Hamilton jump into a McLaren and should have been the first rookie F1 world champion. I've seen Schumacher.
After 3.
Well, yeah. I've seen. Well, that was McLaren as well, but that's another podcast.
Yeah, anyway.
Time. I've seen Schumacher jump into a Jordan, and people go, "Yeah, this guy's for real." 3 races in, he gets snapped up and signed. Max Verstappen, for all the talk of Max Verstappen, and say what you want about Spain 2017, Spain 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
The one where the two Mercs took each other out.
16.
16. First race in the Red Bull, regardless of whether Red Bull angled it so Max won. Kvyat lost his seat. Max goes on to do something Kvyat can never do in that Red Bull. He won in that Red Bull. There was no he's not been part of the team. So he did it in his first race. If you're good enough, you're good enough. End of.
Yeah, I can understand that. It would put him in a bit of a pickle for next season if he wasn't. Part of me just says you need to bring that car home, and you're not going to get anything better from Sergio Perez this season. It's gone.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So you may as well give somebody else a chance. I just maybe I'm reading too much into the not announcing Ricciardo's retirement, saying he's still part of the pool, nothing from him saying he's retired. There's just been nothing apart from a little T-shirt gag on an Instagram picture. It's really been, or was it Cap? It was Cap, I think. But anyway, I don't know. Part of me just buys this idea of he has a free race sun swung. Be hilarious if he came in and won 3 races, wouldn't it? That would be awkward. If he's good enough and he performs 2025, if Lawson or Yuki haven't said, right, which one of you is better, we'll give you the drive, you know, because Lawson's had 2 decent races, but, you know, there's not, I wouldn't say America was brilliant. This one, a bit scrappy. Let's see what he's got. So if you want to put the pressure of a whole season on the 2 of them, you keep them both in the RB. You say winner takes all for 2026. Daniel Ricciardo, you've got one last season. Just go out there and make sure that we can compete for the Constructors' Championship. It's a weird story. It's probably me coming up with some rubbish to get clickbait. But hey, why not?
I do agree with you that I don't think Red Bull's 2025, Red Bull main car 2025 driver lineup is wrapped up yet. Yeah, I do agree.
Oh, let's put it this way: if Perez has 4 bad races, and stays in that seat next year, then he could do anything. He could be part of Christian Horner's WhatsApp group. It wouldn't matter. He probably already is.
Well, I'm being very careful because I'm in Mexico in February, so you know.
Yes. Okay. Well, we've already upset most of them. So anyway, forget by February. Perez won't even be an F1 driver by February.
But just this, we're not playing Red Bull merry-go-round if the Red Bull Driver Academy pool is strong enough.
Agreed. And you've got to think, Vettel was the last one who has come through and won a world championship.
Well,
Max wasn't part of it. Max was not brought through by Red Bull. He had 2 was it 1 season or 2 seasons of car racing? And he was brought into the driver pool 2 months before he was announced as an F1 driver. I'm sorry, you had naught to do with his development at that stage. To be honest, they're too busy in court to fight Mercedes for the attention of Jos Verstappen. It's the first time somebody's chased Jos Verstappen for attention since he left Max at the petrol station. It's true. You can look away all you like. Anyway, so I want everybody who watches this bit of a video, which might be loads of you, might be not. What would you do? Pop it in the comments on the YouTube channel. Let us know what you would do if you were the Red Bull team owner. You know, forget Helmut Marko, forget Christian Horner, and pulling the team out of Formula One is not an option before anybody jumps on that.
So just to clarify before we move on, what would you do?
Me? Yeah. I would honestly, I don't think I've seen enough from Lawson and Yuki to say you can be consistent in these last 3 races, but then Perez has showed us nothing. The easiest option and the only option I can think of that makes any sense is to throw Daniel Ricciardo in that car for 3 races. He's refreshed from a break. I just think he would do better because he wouldn't care.
Let's watch this race after Brazil.
Yes, it's a huge. It's an interesting one.
It would be funny as hell if he won in Abu Dhabi.
What, Daniel?
Yeah.
Just pops up. It'd be even funny if he popped up and just won up 3 races. Just absolutely thrashed Max through.
No, honestly, it'd be hilarious because then everyone would be looking at Red Bull going, "Why didn't you stick him in the Red Bull earlier?"
Oh, of course they would, and they'd be, especially with people who've been critical of him. We will also look at. Have we got the race results? Just look at the other people who did well this weekend. You know, obviously McLaren, we've talked about. Lando just kept it in there, kept his cool. Again, coming good late in the race. Lewis, a pretty good drive considering they didn't understand their updates. The two Mercedes put on a great show between them all. But Haas, we have to have a quick word on Haas.
What a drive by K-Mag.
I mean, the guy's got no what was he, 7 seconds off Max at the end?
Something.
Which makes him, hang on, I'm going to check this out. He was 63 seconds off the lead, 4 seconds off Max Verstappen, but obviously we don't know what Max's situation was. He didn't seem to have the pace. He's still only 15 seconds off George Russell.
And that first stint, that Haas was staying with both Mercs. It wasn't like it was like dropping.
Oh yeah.
It was staying. Like there was one point where it looked like he was going to dive bomb Lewis at one point.
I think he would have done, but he was sitting there going, "This could be really good for Haas."
Yeah, but no, amazing driving. A guy who got his second life in Formula One, has enjoyed this season. He probably won't be coming back ever again. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Kevin. Let's be honest, he'd probably go to things like WEC because that's where his dad ended up, and there's still the opportunity of a Magnussen dream team at Le Mans and things like that. I could see it happening. Bringing Nico Hulkenberg, best mates, best buddies these days, after they weren't previously. But and then we had Nico Hulkenberg in 9th, so double points for Haas again. For a team with 200 people left, is it 250 people?
Yeah,
or something.
And they've essentially taken over Red Bull cash out visa data, whatever.
Yeah,
in 6th in the constructors, and there's a very good chance that they could finish 6th. And as much as people Drive to Survive miss Gunther Steiner, what a change the team principals made. I keep on forgetting the Japanese gentleman's name.
The Japanese bloke. The guy who's on the side of the Williams.
Yeah, but what an impressive job he's done as team principal.
The only downside he's ever had is his sports commentary system. I mean, can't fluke everything. But yeah.
What do you make of Colapinto coming in and slapping Albon around? Because that's what he's done. I know it's a free hit, but
yeah, it's a completely free hit for him. But he's come in and proved himself. And this is the thing. This has started to ask questions. It started the rumors. Do Red Bull try and he's meant to be. He's down for Williams. He's contracted to Williams as a third driver next season. I suspect he says he's going to be racing, which I suspect there's going to be talk between Williams and a GP and an F2 team. I suspect if he's not going to be in the it seems to like the Sauber room has gone a bit away. Bortoletto seems to have denied himself a chance, turned down the chance to go to the Audi Sauber thing. It's a tough gig to sell. Remember, back in the season, we were talking Hulkenberg and Seitz.
It's really weird. It's really weird.
I mean, there's no points there at the moment. Literally, it's pointless. But we've seen Sauber do this before. Take a couple of consolidation years and come back with a huge bang and do really, really well. They did it as Alfa Romeo. They did it as BMW. It's not unheard of that Audi could come into. Audi are obviously not selling something somewhere.
I don't think people believe in the Audi project.
I've always said until I see the Audi on the grid.
Yeah, I'm
not going to believe it.
I don't think people believe the Audi project.
And they do like to pull out of things quite late. They do it in WEC and stuff like that as well. I can't see, apart from Bottas, who's going to be in that seat. And I don't think Bottas wants to be in that seat, if I'm honest. I think he wants to go for rallying and God knows what. But Aussie V8 he wants to go do.
I think he's got one more season.
Yeah, maybe he'll take one more year and then Audi coming in as I think once Audi actually have the name above the door, that's a different selling point. But right now,
but at this moment, it's still a Sauber.
Yeah, still a Sauber. It's not the greatest of gigs to go for. as you say, 0 points. They have to score 15 points to move off the bottom of the championship. No wonder they don't want Andretti coming in.
And that's not happening.
No, I mean, it'd be a miracle if it did. We have seen the Indianapolis Grand Prix of 2005, so you never know.
Imagine the world titles decided like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Schumacher's only win that season come from there. But yeah, so Colapinto's done a great job.
And that was literally because the Ferraris went whoever's into turn 1 first will win the race.
Yeah, Colapinto done a brilliant job. I suspect we'll see him in F2 or an RB next year if we see him. If not, then he'll be Williams' reserve driver. Maybe if your dream comes true and Sykes goes off to Red Bull, which I don't think Max is going to allow, to be fair. But if it did, then you stick Colapinto in the car, obviously. At least Williams have a huge backup and then a huge payoff coming in if Sykes did run off, but I just can't see it. And he probably made the right decision not going to Audi, as we just discussed. What else have we had this week?
Fernando, happy 400, mate.
Yes. It took us 71 minutes, but happy 400, Fernando Alonso. Your 100th Grand Prix, you finished third. Your 200th, you retired from. Your 300th, you retired from. 400th, keep it going, you retired from. It was almost like he wanted just to party and give up, to be fair.
I don't think you're making 500, though.
Let's put it this way. If Audi come in next season, Aston come in next season and they are where they are, I think you're going to struggle to keep him till the end of the season. And I know you've got the Adrian Newey link-up coming, but I would suspect you're going to have to stick Drugovich in that car while he goes off and suns himself and he comes back in 2026. I cannot see the motivation for him to stay.
Oh my God, I keep on forgetting Adrian Newey's there for 2020.
Yeah, Adrian Newey's there, but is that incentive there to sit through a year of pain?
Yeah, I think for potentially challenging for his third world driver's title and being the oldest world champion, and be the biggest.
Yeah, but Adrian it's not going to click fingers and Adrian Newey.
No, it's not. But 1 year, when you have had the level of pain Fernando Alonso's had since his second world title in 2006, I want to say, 20. I mean, it's been 20 years. What's another?
Yeah. But what was? How many years might it take? That's the thing. It could take so many years. And let's put it this way. I think if the brand new car from Adrian Newey in 2026 is not there, he's not there. That's all I'm saying.
That's a different conversation.
But yeah, 400 Grand Prix. Lewis, also, congratulations. You've made it over 20,000 laps, I think it was. Only you and Fernando have done that. I do think you'll probably take that off Fernando because I expect you're here a lot longer than Fernando is.
I reckon after Lewis's Ferrari 10 years done, he's done.
I don't know. Depends how it goes. Depends on the hunger.
If he gets 8, he's out.
Well, we'll see. I think that's about it from this weekend.
That is about it from this weekend.
Let me just quickly check. Obviously, we got the dropping of the fastest lap point. Quick opinion on that. Correct or wrong?
Who cares?
Okay. I think it's probably the right thing to do, to be fair. What else? Oh, there was something that came up today. Honda and Alpine fined for FAA over cost cap breach. What we expect for that coming. Colapinto dismisses 2025 Red Bull rumor. Yeah, of course you're going to. Throw blames back markers including for blue flag. And
that'll be for Lando overtaking Charles Wyatt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. But then Leclerc should have been far up the road. So I think the final one was obviously Verstappen takes a grid penalty for this weekend. Speaking of, because we might not have huge amounts of time coming in the week ahead, we're going to quickly look ahead because we've got yet again another Grand Prix. Gosh, almost getting bored of them now. Brazilian Grand Prix, sprint race, and feature race, or whatever you want to call it, Grand Prix.
Just Grand Prix. Just Grand Prix.
Possibly, I mean, it's a great circuit. Always is. Always can be wet. I've heard the Grand Prix might be wet this weekend, which probably explains why they might take the max penalty, because his skills in the wet could compensate for that. Yeah. Prediction time for us all. We'll go back to our normal predictions. I can't remember what our predictions were from the last one. I think we definitely didn't have Carlos Sainz winning the Grand Prix. Let's put it that way. So
we didn't do predictions for Mexico. So
we had a little one with Paul, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
We had a little one, but not
just go back.
Just go back, have a look. We were rubbish.
So in the interest of fairness, currently Saturday and Sunday are a total washout. There's a 90% chance of rain on Sunday. There is a 50% chance of rain on the Saturday.
Okay, so we're definitely looking like a wet Grand Prix. We know what it gets like. I'm just trying to think. Have we had a washout where sessions of? I think we've had a Sunday morning qualifying before as well in Brazil.
Yes, we have. Because it got washed out and
yeah.
And
remember, last year's pole position was taken in the sprint by Kevin Magnussen.
And just for accuracy's sake, there's a 71% chance at 2:00, which I believe is the local time for the race time.
Yeah,
that it will be raining.
Okay, and there's also, just to throw out there, a 99% chance that Helmut Marko will open his gob.
There is also that.
So qualifying top 5. We'll go back to our normal regime. Wajid, your qualifying top 5. This is Grand Prix top 5. Just to throw out.
I'm going Max in 5th.
Is this with or without penalty?
Without penalty, sorry.
Okay.
I'm going I'm going Lewis in 4th because it's Brazil. He always does well in Brazil. Well, he always tries to do well. And he is a Brazilian citizen. So, fala Portuguese, Lewis. Who am I going second? I'm going Sainz in second. I'm going Sainz in 3rd. I'm going Norris 2nd. I'm going Charlie Leclerc 1st.
Okay. I'm going to go because it's going to be wet. Did you say it was a washout on Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday's a washout. Saturday's 50-50.
Okay, so we could have a mixed qualifying session. So I am going to go without penalties for Sainz in 5th. We're going to go for Verstappen in 4th. Hamilton in 3rd. We're going to get Norris in... No, we're going to go Hülkenberg 2nd. And we're going to go Norris in 1st.
Don't do drugs, kids.
No, you've got to think, Hülkenberg's been on pole there before and on the front row in Force India and on pole in Williams. And we do get these weird qualifying results.
Don't do drugs, kids.
We do get these weird qualifying results in Interlagos quite often. And Hülkenberg is handy in the wet.
Yeah. And then I've also seen him bin it when he was on track for a podium.
Qualifying is 1 lap.
You can start with your race predictions.
Oh God. Right, we're thinking it's going to be a washout. So I think, to be honest, I think that grid is more likely for the sprint than the race. But anyway, like a Haas up there, but we'll go with it. Race predictions. I'm going to go for what are we going to go top 5. So I'm going to go Verstappen. Yeah, Verstappen 4. No, so we need 5th. So 5th will be George Russell. 4th will be Max Verstappen. Yes, so 5th George Russell. 4th Max Verstappen. 3rd will be. Where did Oscar come last year? That's what I want to know. I can't remember how good Oscar was around Brazil last year. That's Abu Dhabi. We want. I don't want Abu Dhabi. I want Brazil. That's Las Vegas. Brazil. I can't remember how Piastri went around Brazil. There we go. He was 14th, 2 laps down. Yeah, so I think we're going to have. Oh yeah, because he got damaged at the start. Yeah, that's right. We're going to have. So what have I got so far?
You have Russell in 5th. You've
Russell.
got Verstappen in 4th.
4th. We're going to go 3rd. Charles Leclerc. Going to go 2nd.
You want to say?
Actually, no. 3rd, we're going to go Nico Hulkenberg.
Jesus. Okay.
2nd, Charles Leclerc. 1st, Lando Norris. And championship fighter.
Cool. So Russell 5th, Verstappen 4th, Hulkenberg 3rd, Leclerc 2nd, Norris 1st. Correct?
We'll change Russell for Lewis. There we go. So Lewis 5th, Verstappen 4th, Hulkenberg 3rd, 2nd for Leclerc, and 1st for Norris.
So I'm going Russell in 5th.
Okay.
I'm going Hamilton in 4th.
Okay.
I'm going Max in 3rd.
Yeah.
I'm going Leclerc. I'm going Sainz in 2nd. And I'm going Leclerc in 1st. And this is the race where this is the weekend your little dream of the world title fight officially ends.
Well, I put Hulkenberg in a podium, so I don't know, just something about Brazil, wet weather, a Haas. I don't know, something just feels right at the moment.
If Hulkenberg finishes 3rd, I will come on the next stream in a Brazil top, and I'll spend the opening 3 minutes speaking Portuguese.
So glad you finished that sentence, because you said I'll come quite a few times, and I was thinking.
I was starting, yeah.
I was wondering where we're going to go, whether you're going to go off to Brazil, whether you're going to go chase down Lewis Hamilton, whether you're going to beat up that. I didn't know where you were going with that.
So these are our race predictions at the bottom. Please do get yours in the comment section.
Yes.
I'd love to hear from you guys. And with that, this is the end of a more on-topic review show of the Mexico Grand Prix. There's 4 races left in the season. Mr. Magpie is still of the opinion there's a world title fight. I am obviously have had the same stance, which is there is no world title fight.
Just depends how much of this continues to happen. And that clip is staying on here now.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this weekend. Welcome to Brazil.
Yeah, it will be Interlagos this weekend. Remember, local times about the same. So I think it's about.
It's a 3 hour time. It's a 3 hour time difference.
Is it Sunday night? Yeah, it's Sunday night because we normally get the old ITV adage of Coronation Street will follow this program. Well, anyway, Wajid, thank you for joining us. It's been as always, long podcast, but a bit shorter than last week. We've got Brazilian Grand Prix review coming up next week, and there may be a few more things coming out as the week goes on. So we'll see how we get on. But Wajid, thanks for joining us. You can follow him at Burnt Out Travels, and you can follow me on Twitch, YouTube at Motorsport Magpie, and there is everything else social media apart from TikTok because I'm too old for that. Anyway, pop your opinions down below, and we'll see you next week in Brazil.